Hey guys, Engineer Wannabe here with my friend Chaz from the Berg. It's good to see everyone in the chat. Good to see you, Chaz.
Good
It's
to see
been
you.
feels like it's been a while, but
It
we've
has been a
we've been
while.
chatting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, hope your Sunday is going well. You were just telling me that you had a bit of a rainy Sunday. Anything else going on today for
It
you?
it's been it's been really a good Sunday. Had a one of those great Sunday afternoon naps, you know.
Oh yeah,
I'm not usually a nap type person except on Sundays.
right.
And you get some good football going or the best thing to sleep, the best sport to sleep to is golf. You get
Yeah,
golf going, people. He's got a 12-foot putt. This is to go three under, whispering. You've
yeah,
got the beautiful scenery that could put you straight to sleep.
yeah.
Um,
You know, when
Football,
I was in college, the favorite thing to put me to sleep was America's Funniest Home Videos. I just put it on. Usually, it would. Back then, it was on Netflix. I don't think it still is in Canadian
hmm.
Netflix, at least. But I just let it run until it turned itself off, and it was it's really nice to fall asleep to.
Yeah,
Uh,
that used to be high entertainment back in the day.
yeah, yeah. I'm not saying it's boring. It's just nice,
Right,
falling asleep while you're laughing. Not that
right,
that happens often.
right.
But yeah, what's on your wrist tonight?
I am wearing the SBGA 211.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, I have this here.
And that's your new strap, right?
Yeah, I got there we go. The new deluxe ostrich leg.
Yeah,
So
looks
yeah, I think
great.
it really works good with the blue catches the blued seconds hand, so it makes it really. Um, I think it complements it well. And I
Yeah,
finally ordering on deluxe is can be kind of challenging because there's so many options.
right.
I don't know if you've ever ordered a strap with through deluxe, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
talking to the strap king here. So,
No, no,
uh,
no.
but there's so many different options you can go.
Yeah.
And the first time I ordered a strap there, I wasn't really familiar with all of their. I didn't do enough, research on what their terminology meant, and I
Yeah.
ended up with a strap that way too tapered.
Right.
It was a 20 mil down to seemed like it went to 16, and it looked so it looked tiny at the end on my big
Yeah.
wrist. So I
Yeah.
finally learned how to order, and I think I've got a good combo now.
Yeah.
So
No, that looks great. I've been meaning to order a strap too for my white birch. I have a couple of 22 mil straps, but they're kind of heavy-handed, like
yeah,
too thick or too one's carbon fiber. I think I have it over here. I don't know if it'll look good. I'll probably try it out, see how it looks. But yeah,
does
this
the 22 work on is your leg width 22 on the Mike Birch?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, which is hard because I don't have a lot of 22 mil
right,
strap.
right.
Um, this is the other one. It'll probably look awful on this, but um, yeah, it's not a racing watch or anything like that.
Right.
So,
What
but
are you wearing tonight?
I am wearing my Seiko SPB 213.
Oh man, yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of the anniversaries, right?
yeah, yeah. One
Yeah,
40th anniversary.
yeah.
Yeah, on its jingly jangly rattly
I,
oyster.
I like I like those. I think of all the at that 140 anniversary series, I like that one. I think the best.
Yeah,
There were several in that in that lineup. They did so many
yeah,
uh, that had that white dial and blue bezel combination. That GMT 140 anniversary looks good too.
yeah.
The that
Sharp
sharp
edge.
edges. Yeah,
That's
I
the
think
one
we have a
Kevin
yeah
S got that recently.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
Kevin has that one. Beautiful watch. So
yeah. It is. The thing with this is every picture makes it look like a white dial. with a blue bezel, but it's actually a silver
It's
dial
silver. Yeah.
with a blackish bezel.
Right. Right.
Um,
It's kind of an odd. It kind of changes color based on the surroundings,
yeah.
which is kind of neat.
Hmm. Yeah, it's hard to take pictures of, though.
Yeah.
Not that it
Yeah.
matters.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah, let's
hey, I've gotten rid of watches because they were hard to photograph, so
yeah.
I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty.
I haven't done that yet, but I I, I could get there.
Yeah.
Good to see you, underachieving watch collector. Thanks for joining us. Corey's here as well. Good to see you, Corey. Fell asleep with my kids last night before the show started. That's all right. Um, that soup looks a little salty. I forgot to put Clayton's face on it.
Yeah.
I knew I was forgetting someone. Uh, it looks like a good curry. I think it looks like a butternut squash soup with croutons.
Butternut
Um,
squash.
yeah.
I'm telling you that does not sound good to me at all.
Really? My
No.
my wife makes a delicious butternut squash soup.
Really.
It's so good. Yeah.
I like squash.
Yeah.
I'm now I'm intrigued. Um,
Yeah.
but
I'd offer to ship some over.
yeah, yeah, may not clear customs.
Yeah. Hey Justin, good to see you. Bruno, good to see you. Craig, how's it going? Let us know what's on your wrist, guys. Keith, hello, hello. Hey neighbor, how's it going, Wolfgang?
Hey,
uh,
Wolfie, it's good to have you in North America.
yeah, it's so good. Nefarian, good to see you. Saw that soup in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's kind of what came to my mind. It was something not as lovely as Sanjay was describing, but now he's made me want to try it. So
Yeah. Yeah, you should. Um, let's see. Wilson's here. How's it going, Wilson? Nilo. Easy Clayton's here as well. Good to see you. Yes, welcome to the Your Terrific Fan Club. Maybe one day we'll have Evan himself grace our show. Who knows?
we'll be like huge fans if he does, because we both really love his channel. So
Yeah, yeah,
we'll be over like giddy school kids, you know.
yep, yep, yeah. Screaming, high pitched screams.
It's good to see Rob in here, Bobby Legs. I feel honored to sit in on his show with you.
Yeah,
So thanks again for having me.
yeah. It's
But
good.
Yabi, we need you back. So
Yeah, we do. We do. It's
we're
not the same.
looking forward to your return after your break. So
Yeah, it's like when you have a flat tire and you have the little donut tire on. So it's just something's not right. You just need Bobby back.
no, you do a great job. It's not you. It's just he adds a lot. So
He does. He does.
I'd
Hey,
like.
you add a lot too.
Well, hey,
You're
I know I'm precious, and I appreciate that. You make me feel precious, but I'm no substitute for Yabi. So
don't
we
say
need
that.
it. We need the champ back.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex, good to see you as well. Wow, it's isn't it early for you, Alex? Um, or is it? It's super late. Kevin, good to see you. Kevin Hawthorne. Um, let's see. Uh, Bill K is here as well. Wait. The other Steve is here. Hey, Steve. Time Hill, good to see you. And there's Bobby Legs. It finally caught up. Good to see you, Bobby Legs. And AP. Nice strap, says Steve. Which one? The carbon fiber? I don't know. Maybe I should try it on the white birch. There you go. Kevin S is here as well. Probably have about 140 limited editions for the 140th anniversary. I wouldn't be surprised. Every year is something new. Like last
Right.
year was the Kintaro Hattori's 60th birth. No, 60th. Was it 160th birthday?
Something.
Something like that.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's an anniversary or a birthday or something every year,
Yeah.
and it's sometimes I love Seiko, but sometimes it can overwhelm me, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I I appreciate I love them testing limits. I love their limited editions, but sometimes it's just a little much.
Yeah. Yeah. I almost feel like there was a moment where I was just, super tired of it. I
Yeah,
was done with it, but now I'm almost desensitized. Like every limited edition is
yeah,
just a regular release to me now.
right. And
I
that
was like,
Seiko,
oh,
you probably like me. You've there's times you've been more heavy on them than others, but they always pull me back in. Uh,
yeah,
they just have a way of, you can be tired of them, but they pull you back in. So
yep, absolutely, I agree. Um, I mean, yeah, I had the Alpinist. That was a hard pull back in.
yeah, yeah,
So
that's a
yeah,
beautiful
that's
watch.
and thank you. Uh, Corey's wearing the Zen U50. Um,
Nice. I love that watch.
yeah, yeah. I wonder if you had issues with the bracelet, like Rob did. Step away from the drill, Rob.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Mario, good to see you as well. I'm sorry if I missed anyone.
Hey, we appreciate all you guys sacrificing Sunday night football to join
Yeah,
us. That means a lot. Glad you guys are here.
yeah, Bruce, good to see you too. Thanks for joining us. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. Thank you for being here. But let's get right into it. Um, we can talk about a couple. So I picked two reviews, and the first one, of course, we can get out of the way. It's the Hodinkee review. Um, it was okay. It was okay. So this was the Rolex Explorer two-tone review, and Steven from Hodinkee Radio. I hear he's no longer on Hodinkee Radio, but he did the week on the wrist for this watch, and I, I mean, it was good at first, and then I was kind of waiting for hey, but it has this con, and every con I feel like they've spun it into a positive, uh,
Right,
y- you know, like not even in an objective way. They talked about the
right,
bracelet taper, and it tapers from 19 to 15 or something like that. It's a very aggressive taper on that 14, I think, on that watch, and a lot of people find that to be a negative, but they didn't mention it to be a negative,
right,
or even a potential possibility of it being a negative. I don't think it would be a negative for me, but I mean, for someone with a bigger wrist like Chaz yourself, you mentioned that the 16 millimeter a taper on that strap was a no go for you, but
right.
I mean 14 going down to 14 millimeters, that's a
That's that's
hard no.
that's that's really thin for a bracelet
Yeah,
on a
it is.
men's watch. It really is.
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, I don't have any problems with that, but it would be nice if they said, "Hey, just so you guys know, this thing tapers like crazy," or yeah, it just felt like a massive press release or
Yeah,
commercial,
yeah,
um, which is unfortunate. It's supposed to be a review. I guess it's called a week on the wrist. They don't even call it a review anymore.
right.
Um, and there were some of the things that he said. I think was interesting. He said the lighting conditions. He okay. First he said this watch is the best Explorer ever, and it was this thing is amazing, and then goes on to kind of downplay the goldness of it. To say,
Right,
hey, it doesn't look that gold in most lighting conditions. I mean, you could say that about anything. um,
right,
in in the pitch black, my what would you say, like a black base ceramic doesn't look washed out. You can read the time in the darkness because
right.
everything is black anyway. But
It doesn't look ceramic in the dark.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I enjoyed seeing the footage of it. It was beautifully
Right,
shot, as Hodinkee would do. And he also mentioned that it doesn't scream like a two-tone Rolex. I mean,
Right.
come on, it's a two-tone Rolex. If you buy the two-tone Rolex, you're going for the two-tone Rolex, right?
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, did you have any thoughts on this one, Chef?
Well, yeah, I'm not a. I mean, I don't subscribe to the Hodinkee channel, and I have a bias toward Hodinkee anyway. I'm not. I don't really. You know, that's not really my thing. Um,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be positive, so. But
Yeah.
it says it took him a week on the wrist to realize that this thing flat out rules. He was so smitten by this watch. And I agree the things you said. He talked about it being controversial, and I
Mm.
guess because they're using gold in a sports watch, but but an Explorer, but Rolex crossed that. They crossed that bridge a long time ago, putting
Yeah.
gold in sports watches. So I
Yeah.
don't, maybe I'm not a Rolex guy, so maybe that's to purist, Explorer purist. The two tone thing was controversial, but I didn't realize that was controversial. He made it out like
Yeah.
it was a big controversial watch, um, and now he says it's the best Explorer ever. Basically the best watch he's ever seen. It was just it started out with praise and it just went up from there.
Yeah.
Like you said, there was no he was just either in love with it or promoting it in a big way.
Right.
Um, and it is a small watch. I guess
Mhm.
that's why if somebody's going to buy a 36 millimeter Explorer, they probably are a smaller wrist person anyway. And I learned something though. I found out that Rolex calls that two tone Rolazor.
Yep. Yeah.
I didn't know that. So hey, I know something now. So I did
Yeah.
learn something from his video. I know what
Yeah. There you go.
Rolazor is. It's not an actual dinosaur from the Jurassic age. It is a two tone Rolex. So
Yeah. Well, they
uh,
have like all sorts of weird names like
yeah,
Rolusium. Um, I can't remember any of the rest, but Clayton from the Watchdog podcast and I we were chatting about that. Um, yeah, interesting naming scheme.
but the whole time I was watching this video, I was thinking Sanjay would love this watch
Yeah.
because I know you're at some point want to go a two tone. I think I've heard you say,
Yeah.
and that watch would be really it look good on your wrist. I think it would be a great, maybe the bracelet taper would be a non plus for you, but that's what I
Yeah.
kept thinking as I was watching the video. I bet Sanjay loves this watch.
I do love that
So,
watch.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
that's good, and, I have mentioned that if I do get that watch, which is unlikely, but if I do, I would take it off the bracelet instantly,
yeah,
and, I think a two-tone like, the gold bezel on that understated dial, very basic dial with a gold
right,
bezel, I think is the perfect amount of flair. Uh,
right.
Once you hit the polished mid links with gold, I think you kinda
A little
go
flashy.
too flamboyant, but that said, I've owned, the Tudor, Royale, the Tudor Royale,
Yeah,
two-tone. So that was kinda like, burned my wife's eyes off, flashy.
it
She
had
she
the
she
fluted
really hated
bezel
it.
and everything, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the engine turn bezel, yeah.
yeah,
Um And yeah, so that had to go, that didn't stay for long, and I moved on to a two-tone Grand Seiko, so I mean, I feel like I'll be back into two-tone very soon,
right.
um, but yeah, it's a really nice watch. I did find that interesting that, that he mentioned the controversy, 'cause
Yeah,
there was controversy, and I didn't understand the controversy, like, the whole time while it was happening, like,
right.
Federico Talks Watches was an example where he blasted this watch, ho how talking about kinda along the lines of Rolex lost the plot, and, this watch really shouldn't have had any two-tone, and they have no business making this two-tone, but, I mean, the
Yeah,
Submariner comes, like, bedazzled in,
right,
sapphires and diamonds,
right.
so, I mean, if they lost the plot, they lost it a few decades ago,
I
and
guess they were going. Maybe I love the 369 layout on the Explorer. I
yeah,
think that's a great layout. I think it looks great. I really love the Explorer. I think it's a classic. Maybe they were talking about the fact that it was, it was famous for its simplicity. But again, Rolex had crossed that bridge a long time ago. Two-tone subs, you know, two-tone GMTs. I mean,
Mhm.
full gold.
Yeah.
So it's. I didn't see the controversy, but again, I'm not a Explorer purist like some
Yeah.
people maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, there could be a reason why the Explorer is supposed to be non-two-tone. Maybe there's
Right,
some other reason that we don't know.
right.
Um, but yeah, let's, dip into the chat real quick before moving on. Wolfgang says, "Say no to Hodinkee."
Yeah, a lot of
Fine.
Hodinkee fans in the chat.
Yeah. So, says Paul as well. "Say no to Hodinkee." Kevin says, "Watch tries too hard to please everyone. Hodinkee gone." There you go. Peter with a very lucid statement here. In their defense, a week on the wrist isn't intended to be a review. That's
Yeah,
that's totally
that's
understandable.
true.
Yeah, yeah,
Fair point.
yeah. Touche, as they say.
Yeah.
um, they should have just rolled out an all gold edition. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, true. If I didn't already have a Cafe Racer sick LP collection, Russian Army jacket collection. I get it. Okay, going for the hipster thing there. I think.
Yeah, that's the Hodinkee that you checked all their boxes there.
Yeah, that's good. The chalice. Oh, I couldn't grab the chalice. I just grabbed a can of pop.
You're going
Can of
straight,
dry. Yeah.
straight from the can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next time, I'll make sure to have the chalice. um. Let's see. AP says, with so many watch options around for collectors, I'd rather hear negatives about a watch than positives. It's a given that the watches that make Watchfinder Hodinkee have lots of positives.
That's true.
Yeah. Um, Steve saying, great point, Chaz. Rolex has been making gold and two-tone sports watches for a long time. Absolutely. Okay, let's scooch on down. Dib's here. Hey, Dib, good to see you. I think I need to wear that two-tone Explorer on a Cuban chain to look hip and fly.
You could
Yeah.
pull it off, Deb.
Yeah. Steve says two-tone Explorer has sold out. Fed lost the plot when he let the hanger take over. Yeah. Rolex can release anything. Absolutely. Bruce has a two-tone bluesy, I think.
Bluesy is a beautiful watch.
It is. Very nice.
Beautiful watch.
Apparently dual tone is the preferred nomenclature. I did not know that.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you. Yeah. Dib says the gold filling in the teeth goes in first. That's good. Come on, it's not that gaudy.
According to Stephen from Hodinkee, after a while you don't even notice the gold, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah, that's
just
true.
fades away, and it's just a watch.
Yeah,
So
and some lighting condition, it doesn't look like gold either. It just gives
right.
this nice warmth,
Yes. Yes.
just like
I
a
noticed that same thing. I was thinking, really? I don't think so.
yeah. Just like a beautiful fire in a cold winter night with a
Yeah.
glass of hot chocolate.
Yes.
uh,
I do think two-tone is coming, or dual tone, as Justin has told us. I think it's
yes.
kind of making a resurgence. I see more and more makers going with it, so I think it's coming back around.
Yeah.
There was a time when it was. I mean, I can remember. I'm a little older than you, so I can remember back in the 90s. Uh, a lot of watches were two-tone.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. I remember that time. I don't know why I'm into two-tone now. I used to not be into two-tone.
80s probably 80s maybe more so.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of two-tone. I know.
Yeah. Matthew has a beautiful two-tone Grand Seiko 9F. one that you can't find here. You have to
Bimetal.
import it.
That's
Yeah,
another. Thank you, man. That's
bimetal.
another. I like that. Bimetal.
Yep. So you've got the speed or the Seamaster with tri-metal because
Oh yeah.
you've got the titanium, rose gold, and tantalum, right? And steel, quad metal.
Is that quad metal?
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, so let's keep on moving and get to the You're Terrific feature for tonight. Um, so Evan has owned the Panerai Luminor PAM 111 for 3 years, and he put out a video. This is not really a review. It was more
Right.
of a long-term reflection, I guess. So, um, yeah. So he did a bit of a Q&A about his Panerai, what he was looking for in a Panerai. He said he had 5 pillars in a Panerai that he wanted. Um, and they don't release that kind of Panerai anymore. So it had to be 44 millimeters. It had to be manually wound. It had to have a display case back. It had to have a seconds hand, and it had to have a sandwich dial. So um, there was, I think, the Panerai 965, PAM 965 was the only other one, but that doesn't have an open case back. So you get pretty close. Um, and Yeah, it was an interesting video. There was his usual flair, his jokes that that makes the jokes alone make the video worth it.
Right.
um,
Right.
he threw in some obscure Star Wars reference in there, and he also talked about why he bought a watch that he didn't expect to keep, and I didn't even bat an eye at that. I didn't even think that was a question because I do it all the time.
Right.
um, yeah, so he said, "Yeah, because 'cause I'm a watch guy, and I guess we're all watch guys." So
Right.
there you go.
So why would you do that? I'm a watch guy.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so he kinda touched on the Panerai controversy that's been going on, with, the chronograph. I think it was a 2892 base chronograph that they were calling in-house.
Yeah.
Um he said he didn't really care. There was also a mention about how there's a lot of fakes out there with Panerai, so be very careful when purchasing one, especially the 111 that he has. Apparently, it's uh, been very easily faked and very comprehensively faked. I think I've heard people say that not even Panerai can tell the fakes apart. I don't know how true that is. It's a rumor I've heard, but yeah, it was a great video from Evan. Did you have any thoughts that you'd like to add, Chaz?
I loved his admission that most of his watches won't be with him,
Yeah,
for the long haul, uh, because that's a good place to be when you recognize that.
yeah,
Um, of course, as a YouTuber, he has to bring a lot of watches in and out. Um, but for most of the collectors I know, enthusiasts, that's true. There are some exceptions of guys who just keep every watch they get, but most of my friends in the watch, uh, hobby, uh, there's a lot coming in and going out. So I like that, and I guess he made that point to say that it's that says something a lot about the Panerai. If it stays
yeah,
3 years, that's not normal. You know,
right.
he
Yeah.
has to really, it has to really be a keeper.
And he
And I
mentioned that he gets to the point where he feels like selling it, and then he puts it on his wrist, and he says, "There's nothing else like this." So
right,
he ends up keeping it. So
and I
yeah,
like the fact that he came at it from basically a Panerai hater,
yeah,
until he tried it on, and you know, I think Panerai there's something about Panerai that always has appealed to me, but I've never pulled the trigger. And I think it's going to come down to the fact that I'm going to try one on and probably come to the same conclusion that it's a unique watch and there's not really anything else like it.
yeah,
And I've got a big wrist, so I don't have that excuse. But his is very normal, average,
yeah.
and he pulled that watch off fine. You
Yeah,
know,
he said there was some overhang. I didn't see any overhang on his wrist. It
no, it
looked good.
looked, yeah, it looked good.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, he addressed common questions in that video, and he did it in his humorous way. You know, um, but I thought he did a great job, and it reinforced to me that there's probably going to be a Panerai in my future at some point.
Yeah.
And I love the things he was looking for in a Panerai would be the same things I would look for. I
Right.
would want the manual wind. I would want the sandwich dial, and I would want the exposed case back, um, the open case back. You know, seconds hand. I don't. It's not essential for me on a
Yeah.
Panerai, even though I do like seconds hand on most watches. But that would be. I love the loom on that sandwich dial. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so yeah, I thought it was good.
Burn your eyeballs out, man.
Yeah,
As Evan himself said.
right, right. He
uh,
did.
but yeah, I think Rob and I, when we did a watch soup some time back, we were talking about Panerai. And I was kind of warming up to Panerai, and I feel like this happens every time. I get pretty close to warming up to Panerai,
Right,
and I think the Panerai Due is one of my favorite Panerais. I know it's the the black sheep or the one that's looked down on, but what I think it looks good, and it's a beautiful watch. It fits me,
yeah,
and I get close to considering buying it, and then something happens with Panerai.
yeah,
Something there was something with World War II. Like I got pretty close to really considering a Due, and a few months ago something happened with World War II stuff coming out with Panerai. They were using ads with I think some of the some really controversial figures. Um, yeah, and there was a bit of a hullabaloo, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll wait this one out. And then recently there was the whole um, thing with that movement, that chronograph movement, that things
right,
started to blow up with uh, that chronograph movement, and they were lying to customers and stuff like that, and they come up with these really weird recycled metal um, Panerais that are 60,000-70,000 dollars, and yeah, it makes me scratch my head. And
right.
yeah, in the end, you're buying a watch, not the brand. And you kind of are buying the brand a little bit, but um
Yeah,
yeah, at that point you kind of lose the desire for it. So I'm at that point where I've lost the desire. Even though Evan put out a video, usually when he puts out a video, you kind of want that watch
yeah.
because he has that effect. But yeah, I'm still not there yet, so I
Well,
don't
that
really.
controversy around Panerai is also part of the reason I've kind of steered clear of it too. Also,
Yeah,
the fact that I think I've heard that it's the most faked watch there is. There's
really.
more fake Panerai than there are fake Rolex or fake any other thing. I've heard that. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that stated as a fact.
Yeah,
Um, so, and I like to buy watches on the secondary market a lot of times, especially on a watch like a Panerai. That would probably be what I would do.
yeah,
And that's what makes you a little nervous, because I don't know. I'm not an expert. I wouldn't know if there were what to look for on the movement. I could tell if a watch is well finished or not, but
yeah.
and they're using stock movements and calling it in house, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the
Uh,
whole Panerai PAM 318 debacle with the Brooklyn Bridge watch
right,
that
right,
wasn't finished.
right,
Had the base grade 6498, 6498 Unitas movement.
right.
So yeah, lots of stuff happens with Panerai.
Yeah, but and they, you know, again, that's a watch back in the '90s, the early aughts. Those Panerai was probably, I mean, I remember when those things were trading high,
Yeah,
uh, and they back when the big watches, were kind of the thing. Um, that was kind of the boss of the big watches,
yeah,
and they seem to have kind of lost a little bit of that, but uh, I don't know. They have a loyal following, man. Uh,
yeah,
they have a loyal group, and they seem to have the tough time of, um, they've got such a loyal following that don't want them to change anything about it. They love the way Panerai is, but at the same time, if they're going to appeal to a new market, they probably have to adjust some things.
Yeah,
So it'd be interesting to see what happens to Panerai if they
yeah,
survive
yeah.
all of this. So
Yeah, you kinda have to either be the trendsetters or, have to evolve with the market. I think with Rolex,
right,
you have they set the trend, right?
right,
But the only reason is because they don't compromise. And I feel
right.
like because Panerai, I mean, I'm no expert or anything, but I feel like because they compromise, on they cut corners, in
Yeah,
certain ways, um, that kind of breaks uh, their strength,
yeah,
it makes them a bit of a, um what would you call it? Like an underdog? Not an underdog, but not someone who is trusted,
right.
to set the market. Um, but
I
yeah,
love the
let's
submersible too. I know Wolfie has a submersible that's just great, great looking watch.
yeah,
Um, but to me, that basic Panerai would be the one I would go for, and that's kind of what Evan went for. And again, I thought he just did an outstanding job as always.
yeah. I know Bobby K used to have I think a Panerai with blue accents. It was a 42 mil Panerai. I don't really know what model that would be, but uh, I was yearning for that for a while as well.
Yeah, that's a pretty watch.
Yeah. Wolfgang in the comments is saying that Tritone Seamaster Professional is fire. Uh, if they had the Necton dial on that watch, I think it would have been a grand slam. um, if you want a two tone on a budget, buy a 1990s tagwear. That's
I
good.
bet you're right.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, Psychoanalysis of what it takes to own a PAM 11 for 111 for 5 years, says Steve. Uh, To those who own two tones, do two tone metals cause issues in extreme weather due to
hmm,
different thermal expansion coefficients? Oh, that's an interesting question. I've
yeah,
never had issues. I had a couple of two tone watches. I used to have a couple few Black Bay 36 two tone. I steel and gold. Um, the Tudor Royale and the Grand Seiko SBGB 238. I never had any concerns. No bezels flying off or anything like that, thankfully. Uh, Farron says, I wonder if Everose would have been better. Hmm. I don't know. I like yellow gold.
I think
Uh,
yellow gold would if you're going back to the Explorer, I think yellow gold fits better on that black that
yeah.
that inky black dial. Yellow gold and that black dial just looks great together.
Yeah. Steve, with a hot take here, I'd rather have a Bone Ross than a Panerai if I'm getting a funky cased watch in that direction. Interesting. Um, I wouldn't take their word for it, says Dib. Honestly, I've seen enough of Swiss brands to know the truth slips between the cracks. Hmm. And Paul says, don't have to be careful because he has no desire for a Panerai. Yeah, if I did go with a Panerai, I'd probably, based on what you said, Chaz, and what I've heard as well, I'd probably go with some dealer where I would have some recourse if it was a fake.
Right,
Watchbox, Watchfinder, Crown and Caliber, something like that.
right.
Justin says Panerai all day over BNR. Yeah. Kevin says I do like the older PAM 111s and 112s. Clocks and Glocks also saying Panerai is greater than everything. Look at that. It's good to see Clocks and Glocks. Um, hey, look at that. Minute marker. Good to see you, sir,
Hello.
Brandon. Man, I miss you, man. Um, if they up the water resistance on those Luminor Duets, I'd probably be in too. I'm in. I'm in on the Duet. I just get pushed back every time I get close. Kevin says those Due Pams are really disappointing fashion watches to me. Aw, aw. Yeah, they are 30-meter water resistance, but I don't go near water.
Yeah.
Brandon says that's exactly my problem. You try them on and they're pretty sick, but the aesthetic is entirely there for fashion reasons. Yeah, but Fears Brunswick, I think, is a good case study because that case shape did exist before Panerai made it their own, and that case shape was for dress watches, so or everyday watches, I'd say. So the Fears Brunswick is similar Panerai style case,
Right.
even though
Just
it's
smaller.
yeah. Pete with that movement controversy, was it total beat up? Wolfgang saying get the 1389 Sanjay, you love it, terrific, has a video. I'm guessing that's like 48 millimeters, isn't it? uh, Kevin says very easy to fake a Panerai. Even folks at the boutique in New York City have been fooled. Wow.
That's what I've heard, Kevin.
Oh, there we go. Wilson says that watch would be too big for my ankle. Yeah, I have tiny ankles. I have chicken legs. Like they get pretty small, just like my wrists. uh, Chaz, you probably have a bigger wrist than my ankle. I bet.
I bet
I
I
bet.
do.
Sam says Hot Ones had a bad experience with a fake Pam,
Yeah, I've
and
heard that story so many times.
he's had some bad luck. Poor guy. All right, hey, Dan's here. Good to see you, Dan. And let's keep on going.
Your
So next,
wrist size is what, 6 3/4?
mine
Yeah,
mine is 6 1/4.
6 1/4.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. This is the part where you say my condolences.
Hey, I'm 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 jealous of guys with smaller wrists because there's so many watches that I'm attracted to that are just too small for
Yeah,
me. And like that Alpinist reissue that you have, I
yeah,
love that watch. If it was 39, I would buy it in a heartbeat.
yeah,
But it's just, if it gets down to 36, you know it's
yeah.
just too small for me. I
Well,
can go 38 if it's all dial.
yeah, it's
But if it gets
almost 37. So you gotta take.
it's close.
Yeah,
But it's just a small watch
yeah,
on a huge wrist like mine. It looks great on you, but so
thank
I
you.
don't think I'm superior because my wrist is bigger. Um, sometimes I wish I had one of those smaller wrists that I could wear the smaller watches. So
Yeah, I hear you. I feel like it's kind of improved recently for us smaller wristed guys.
yeah,
Because there's a lot of releases that are friendly toward us, but only a couple of years ago I was just gawking at all these crazy big watches that I couldn't wear. So
it seems
um
like more and more makers are coming out with smaller watches. So
yeah,
um, I see that trend, going back. I think it went, we've got past the 45 to 52. You don't see as many releases in that range anymore.
yeah,
Much more 43 to 39.
right,
And now even several makers don't, you know, you see the 36 to 38 almost exclusively.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, happy days. um So let's move on to Uptick's video here. Kind of a train wreck of a story with his black base ceramic. So what happened was some time ago, 3 months ago, maybe a little over 3 months ago, Uptick had an issue with his precious black base ceramic. He really enjoyed this watch. I think he got it the day it was released. He tends to do that, but yeah, he got this watch the day it was released, and a couple of weeks later, it just stopped. It wouldn't start up again. He'd be hand winding it, nothing would be happening. Um, Sent it over to Tudor Service Center, and the watch is gone for 3 months. Maybe it would have been gone for longer if he hadn't kept making those videos on the whole issue. He was directly addressing Tudor in those videos too. So
Right.
he'd be like, Tudor, if you're listening, get a hold of me. Such and such is my email address. What's going on? Where is my watch? And so on. I'm sure someone at Tudor caught wind of that. So it took 3 months. They had to ship the watch over to Switzerland. They worked on the watch and sent it back. And he actually got an appointment. And the manager of the service center himself wanted to speak to Uptick and mention, apologize personally about the delay, explain what happened. They didn't tell him what parts had to be replaced. They mentioned that the watch couldn't be remetast certified, so it wasn't a new movement. It was a serviced movement. They replaced some parts, so no one really knows what's going on with this thing. I haven't heard any other issues from Black Bay Ceramic owners. Not that there are a lot of them, but um, it seems like this might have been an isolated incident. But he brought up a really interesting question. He was talking about how he keeps getting these new watches, and he gets watches quite frequently, and the chance of him getting a dud, he's kind of rolling the dice every time. Not any more than anyone else, but because he keeps buying new watches, he has a higher chance of picking up something that might not be good. And he also, he was very diplomatic in this video too. I think he wasn't upset. He said he was going to give this watch another chance. He even kind of hinted at wanting the bronze Tudor Black Bay 58. Hey Tudor, if you're watching, reach out to this store and allocate one for me. And so very diplomatic video. I don't know if he did that intentionally or not, but yeah, Uptick's a good guy, so I would think he has um, no ill will
Bonsoir,
there.
mon ami.
Yeah, yeah. The funny thing though is I the way he wears that watch really kind of irks me, because he leaves the tail like flapping out. Every time I've seen him wear the watch, the tail is just hanging way out. I was like, come on, man, move that keeper a
Yeah.
little up there.
Your OCD is just kicking in. You're just going,
Yeah.
oh no, slide that second keeper up.
Yep. Yeah. So it was a good video. It was an interesting thought that he had, which I thought maybe we could discuss. Having, when we keep buying these watches, things are bound to go wrong.
Right.
We're exposed to more chances to where something like this could happen. And if this happened to me, and I'll ask you shortly, Chaz, what you would have done, but this watch would be dead to me. If it was gone for 3 months, I would have no desire for this watch. The magic would be gone. Every time I looked at it, I'd probably think of negative thoughts.
Right.
So it's nice that Uptick doesn't have that problem, but yeah, that's kind of what would happen to me. And yeah, yeah, I mean, kind of happened to me with Oris, with the Caliber 400. That watch, after a couple of issues in a row, it was dead to me. I couldn't salvage that. Although
Yeah.
it's not permanently dead. I may pick up an Alquist Caliber 400 eventually,
Hmm.
but that's a whole other story. So Chaz, what do you think of this video?
Well, first of all, I like his channel. I think he's
Yeah,
a good guy. I like the way he does his videos. Basically as an enthusiast, he's not really trying to promote anything. He just showing you his watches, and I really like that part about his channel. Um, he went to the service center there in Hong Kong, and
yeah,
and went straight to the manager. And I think he was one of the first to get the ceramic. Right? Did you? I mean, it's probably one of the first ones that anybody got. Is kind of the way I took it. So he was very early to get it, and you know, I wasn't sure. It just didn't work. But the part that frustrated me was that they never told him exactly what they fixed. I don't think
Yeah.
he even knows now. They didn't tell him what parts they replaced. They didn't tell him. All they told him was it was not MITAS certified again.
Yeah.
They didn't put a new movement in it. They repaired something, but they didn't tell him what, and they didn't tell him if it was a widespread problem or an isolated incident. Um, you know, and it was gone for 3 months. I
Yeah.
know that's horrible on a new watch. You know, for me, they should have given him a new watch right off the bat. Just
Yeah.
say, hey, sorry about this. Here's another one, or got him one as soon as possible. Like they should have, to me, they should have replaced the watch instantly,
Yeah.
or as soon as one was available, instead of sending it off for 3 months. I mean, look, he really, they didn't do anything for him except make the watch right, uh, supposedly,
Yeah.
and he missed it for 3 months. That's a pretty stiff penalty that for no fault of his.
Right.
It's not like he broke something or it just stopped working. And I thought that the service, the whole thing from Tudor, I think it makes Tudor look bad on
It
their
does.
service department. But I loved his attitude toward it, which was life's too short to, because people in the comments were telling him, "Oh, I wouldn't stand for this. I would demand a new watch, or I would demand to know the parts that were replaced." And his attitude was, hey, life's too short. I got to love the watches. I don't want to get, it's from him. I thought he didn't want to get angry about it.
Yeah.
And I that really spoke to me about how I deal with my own, when a watch doesn't behave, or when I got a new watch from a maker. I'm not going to mention the name, but had an issue with it early on that was no fault of mine, and I had a similar type response. It wasn't gone nearly as long, but there was no apology. There was no, I had to pay shipping to get it there and shipping to get it back.
Oh
And
wow.
so, all of that it was like I was penalized because something broke on a watch, that no fault of my own. And that just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, you know.
Yeah.
I just thought I expected better from Tudor. I expected them to say, hey, here's a new watch. You shouldn't have had that problem. And evidently, it sounds like it may be an isolated incident
Mhm.
because we haven't heard a bunch of other people with the 41 ceramic. I know we got a friend that has one.
Yeah.
Clayton, I think, has one, and he's not had any problems as far as I know.
Yeah.
So, but I loved the thing about his video that spoke to me the most was his good attitude toward very bad, what I consider very bad service.
Yeah. Yeah. Very tolerant. He mentioned rolling with the punches, so kind of acknowledging that he was being punched,
Right,
and he was rolling with it. He wasn't punching back.
right.
So
And he did say, "Hey, Tudor, if you're listening, hook me up on the bronze."
yeah,
And they should. They
they should.
should.
Yeah.
They should put him at the top of the list, and you say here, and here's a 25% discount for your trouble.
Yeah.
They didn't even give him a Tudor hat or a
Yeah.
or a Tudor. They didn't give him any swag.
Yeah.
Um,
He got a pouch though.
well, they did get a pouch. They did get
Yeah.
a pouch.
Yeah. That's nothing though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's too bad. But yeah, it's not like a Blackberry GMT kind of issue where every single one of them was uh, supposed to at least have that date issue, or the date wouldn't change, or the date would skip a date. Um, so that was kind of a widespread issue. It seems like this is not so much, but you never know. We'll find out. Time will tell.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. If you guys talking about small watches and small wrists, Wilson said I wore a 36 millimeter for many years. Then Wolfgang slapped slapped me. That's good. Uh, I don't care if a watch is big. It's the lug to lug that needs to be small. I'm happy with the Seiko Baby Turtle, but not so much with the Hamilton Kaki mechanical. Yeah,
That's true, AP. That lug to lug, that that makes a big difference in how a watch sets on your wrist. Good point.
absolutely. Yep. Pale Horse, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And there's Clayton saying he has no issues with his ceramic Black Bay, which is great.
Great looking watch too.
Yeah, yeah. Uptick seems like a straight shooter, says Kevin. Tudor should have at least given Uptick some swag, says underachieving watch collector. You would think that they would just swap out the movement, but they didn't. Apparently, they specifically didn't. They repaired it.
Right.
So 3-month delays. Paul scoffs at this paltry wait time. Yeah, Paul's story is
That's
already
hardcore, Justin.
stuff of legends.
And Paul's attitude toward that issue was, I think, great too. I think, of course, we're talking about something in our own little, watch friends, but there's, we had a friend who was dealing with kind of bad service on the delivery on a watch, and we were much more upset about it than he was. It seemed
Yeah.
like, but I think you've got to handle stuff that way. You can't let everything be a monumental issue. It's just life's too short for that. So
Yeah. Paul saying he ordered an HO8 7 seconds after birth and he just got it 42 years later. Oh, that's good. All right. Paul also mentioning that he sent his 36mm Carrera off to service in 2011. Got it or a new one in 2013. They truly don't open my letters. Is it pronounced Chuda? Chuda. Okay, so let's move on to the last video. We've only got a few minutes left. I feel like we probably talk about this a lot because you mentioned a lot of watches, but I don't know if you guys have been following Mr. Talking Hands's experience buying a watch. It was kind of interesting. One thing I noticed was there was no Richemont watches. Were there? Well, maybe Longa would be one of them, right?
is Longa Richemont?
Are they? I'm not sure. It's hard to keep up. But so I think they are, because they got this triple split to do a video on. I feel like, which not a lot of people can get, the triple split chrono. But anyway, this was a personal journey for Mr. Talking Hands. He went through the pros and cons of each watch. I think one a week for the past 4 weeks or so, and this week was the big reveal on the watch that he did get, and you could kind of tell that this was going to be. I was hoping it wasn't it. Okay, so what he did choose was the Tudor Black Bay 58, the original one. And
Spoiler alert. Spoiler
yes,
alert, in
yes,
case
sorry.
anybody, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not hard to guess. This is
Right.
the watch that he has called multiple times the perfect watch. It's a perfect size, perfect look, and he's called it the perfect watch. It was kind of the writing was kind of on the wall for that being the choice.
Right.
But you mentioned the hardest one for him to let go of was the Lange Saxonia Thin, which he had to let go. Well, he came up with some silly excuses. He said, what's that saying about peaking too soon?
Right.
So he said, you got to leave some room to grow and to mature into this Lange Saxonia Thin. And then he said, well, at least that's what I'm telling myself, because
Yeah.
he said he couldn't afford it. And it is 4 or 5 times the price of the Tudor Black Bay 58. So I
And
mean,
that's if you get it at retail.
yeah. So yeah, not a cheap watch. He also mentioned the Speedmaster. It was interesting why he didn't pick up the Speedmaster. He felt like it was too expensive now, because it used to occupy a space. He was saying that was way lower. The price was way lower, but the price is rising. But at the same time, he specifically wanted the 3861 Speedmaster with all the, the modifications, the improvements. It's a little thinner, looks a little better. And this was the one he wanted, but he didn't want to, cough out the premium, which is a hefty premium over the previous gen. But he said it's gone, but definitely not forgotten, because this one might make a comeback. The next one that might make a comeback he mentioned was the Grand Seiko White Birch. So he said that when this White Birch was announced, he said this was the perfect Grand Seiko. It's what he always wanted. He knew he was going to own it. But now that he's had some time, he kind of keeps flip-flopping between the Snowflake and the White Birch. And he thought it was a little expensive as well. Even though it was worth the price, he said, it was a bit too expensive for him to rationalize. So, but he said this might be the one that shows up next, or the Snowflake. And then he talked about the Rolex Cellini. So this was a glossy dialed Rolex Cellini. I think they showed two, one white gold and one yellow gold. And he said his wife wanted this one, but he didn't really want it. He said it was the easiest one to knock off the list, I think, and it was kind of a short intro. So the Cellini was hard to let go because his wife wanted it as well as he wanted it. But when he really did some introspective search, he found that was not the one. So he landed on the Tudor Black Bay 58, and it was kind of an interesting journey. I really enjoyed his personal look on these watches. I think this is a great video, or this series was a great series, and I hope they do more of this. I guess it's kind of dependent on him actually buying a watch. But Chaz, did you have any thoughts on this video?
Yeah, I didn't really follow along the whole journey.
Right.
So, I the thing I got out of that video was those are so different. The lineup of watches he was going after, it's like very extreme, from a, Speedmaster to a Saxonia Thin to a Cellini to a White Birch and back to a Black Bay 58. That's such a diverse group,
Yeah.
very different watches, and it's like, was he seriously considering all these watches? I felt like some of them were just kind of thrown in there,
Yeah.
like,
I feel like if Richemont had their hands in this, they could have easily thrown in IWCs in there and done pretty
right,
much a commercial for all these watches. But
right,
thankfully, it didn't seem like that was the case. So it seems
right.
like these are watches he was genuinely interested in.
I hope so. He
Yeah.
said, owning a Speedmaster is not just owning a watch; it's a stewardship of a legacy. And I kept thinking it's not that much more between a Speedmaster and a Black Bay 58. I
Right.
mean, it's a little more money, but it's not. It's not like the difference between a Speedmaster or a Tudor Black Bay 58 and a Longa Saxonia Thin. I mean,
Right.
like you say, we're talking about a huge gap. Even the Cellini, you're talking about a huge gap of price difference.
Hmm.
Same on the White Bird, you're talking about twice. Basically what a. Um, so it's hard to compare those. They're so different in price range. It's hard to say these watches are. I felt like he was always going to go with the Black Bay 58. That's kind
Yeah.
of the way I felt. And the
Yeah.
other things are just kind of, other watches that you can put in there. But it didn't surprise me he landed on the Black Bay 58.
Yeah.
But I thought it was
Yeah.
a good video, though. And he had great pictures, great videography of
Yeah.
all
For
the
sure.
watches. And, it didn't feel as much like an infomercial as some of the videos, do in that, just like showing you something to say, oh, by the way, we sell this, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this video as well. Um, it would be interesting to see, if you would go that Grand Seiko route. He mentioned that he's had two Grand Seikos, and they weren't at the same time, but he was not too certain about adding another Grand Seiko into his one watch collection that he has right now, which is a Grand Seiko already. Um, and he also mentioned, I think one thing against the Speedmaster was the fact that it was manually wound. So he seems to be the type that does not really enjoy winding his watch every day at
Right.
least, or every couple of days.
Yeah.
Although the Lange would have been manually wound as well. So
Yeah.
I'm not. I can't relate to that because I really love manually winding a watch.
I do too.
Yeah, I find that to be a huge positive for a watch rather than a negative. But
Right.
it was clear that for him, the automatic was the bigger positive.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah,
think
let's.
he needs more watches. You know,
Yeah,
that's the bottom
yeah.
line.
That's the weird. I was thinking about this because Tim also, I think he has a few watches. He has an Omega, older school Omega Seamaster, I think that he's mentioned a couple of times, and a Zin and some other watches. But Tim Mosso doesn't have a lot of watches.
Right.
This Mr. Talking Hands doesn't have a lot of watches either, and I wonder if it's because they have so much access to watches, being, working at a place like Watchbox or Watchfinder,
That's
because of
kind of
that.
my theory.
Yeah, because of that, you can wear a watch whatever you want to wear
Right.
and leave for the day, enjoy that for a week even,
Right.
and not really have to think about it. So yeah, I mean, if I worked at Watchbox or um, Watchfinder, I'm sure I would have a really small collection too.
Right. Right. Why buy them when you can wear them all day and not have to pay?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So I mean, if Watchbox is hiring, I have a dinosaur here as well, who's it's not Hugo, but he is a Velociraptor, way more intelligent than the T-Rex Hugo. So
right. Right.
yeah, we'd have a blast. So hey, Watchbox.
The Velociraptor should be your go-to dinosaur.
Yes.
Um, I think it fits with Sanjay. So
Yeah. Sorry, TGV.
yeah,
But yeah, let's jump into the chat before we say goodnight for the evening. We're running a bit late. Hope you guys are not too sleepy. Or well, it'd be a good thing if you are sleepy. Um, I think these guys are chatting about Paul's whole HO8 situation. Um, let's see, Brownie. Hey, good to see you, Brownie. Looks like a 47 millimeter Pam Luminor in PBD. Wolfgang saying, say yes to Cellini. I do like Cellinis. I wish they came in steel. Uh, let's see. Undertune Watch Collector said, I told the Talking Hands guy in the comment section to get the ALS. Work harder. Yeah, it's a good one. Nefarian says, stewardship of a legacy sounds a lot like a lot of responsibility. Like sitting in an emergency exit. I don't know if I can do it.
right. I felt the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it's just a Speedmaster. Come on.
Right.
Let's see. Paul says, yeah, I'm not a steward to anything. I wear a watch, and I respect myself more than the watch.
That's right.
Yeah, well said. Does Tim Mossa keep an extra soft brass key for his Tegament demos?
He's done that trick several times.
Yeah. Bruno says, oh, getting TGV vibes from Sanjay with that dinosaur. Thanks for joining us, Brandon. Yeah, it's good having you. Sanjay, you made Hugo's hit list. Oh, bother.
Yeah.
But I can't do a British accent, unfortunately. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, thank you all for joining us. It was a blast. Time flew again. I can't believe it's 10 past 10. But
Good times.
thanks for sticking with us and
Thanks, guys.
yeah, spending time with us. It's really an honor and a pleasure. Thanks so much, Chaz, for filling in for Yabi
Hey,
Eggs.
thanks for inviting me, and I look forward to getting Rob back on the show. And but we really appreciate you standing in while these guys are taking a break.
Yeah, of
You're
course.
keeping it rolling, Sanjay.
Yeah,
We appreciate you doing that, man.
yeah.
I'm
Hey,
serious.
It's all our stream. It's not
Uh,
my stream, not anyone else's. It's everyone's stream. So
well, you do a
uh,
great job, and appreciate you keeping it going for us. Really,
thanks, yeah, and thank you for helping out and for being here. And I always enjoy chatting with you. So
same here.
I really appreciate it. But yeah, guys, we'll see you Tuesday night for Tuesday night watch talk. Chaz, do you have anything coming up that you want to plug?
No, they can reach me at uh, Chaz from the Berg at the Pentagon.gov. You can reach me there. But yeah, I don't have anything to promote. Look forward to Tuesday night getting together with you guys again.
Yeah,
Random Rob has a live stream tomorrow.
that's
I
true.
think
Yeah.
Random Rob's going back to 8 maybe soon,
Oh, nice.
8 p.m. Eastern. So, but and then Tuesday, look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, have a great night and a great week. Take care.
Yes, thanks, guys.
Bye.